Hi everyone, if you want to learn all about cocaine and the difference between crack cocaine, freebase cocaine and cocaine hydrochloride, you better watch this video. So firstly, what is it? It is a powerful and highly addictive stimulant drug derived from the leaves of the coca plant, which is native to South America. Now, cocaine primarily affects the brain's reward system by increasing levels of dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. And normally, dopamine is recycled back into the cell that released it. But cocaine blocks this process, causing a buildup of dopamine in the brain, which then leads to the intense feelings of euphoria that users experience. Traditionally, for thousands of years, indigenous peoples of South America have used coca leaves for medicinal and ceremonial purposes. So when chewed, the leaves release a small amount of cocaine alkaloid, providing a mild stimulant effect, but not comparable to the effect of a concentrated drug. And the amount of cocaine in coca leaves is about 1 to 2%. So cocaine as a refined substance was first isolated in the 19th century and was initially used actually as a local anesthetic, and was also included in beverages such as the original formula for Coca-Cola. But this was before its addictive properties were recognized. The clinical effects of cocaine include euphoria and increased energy, and that's why people use it as a stimulant. Increases the sense of mental alertness, it decreases appetite, and it has effects on the autonomic nervous system, including dilated pupils and increased heart rate, blood pressure, and body temperature. So like all addictive substances, even though it might be fun and have positive euphoric effects in the short term, there are always long-term consequences associated with addiction and dependence. And there's also long-term harms. So damage to the nose from snorting, cardiovascular problems, including heart attacks and strokes, mental health issues, paranoia, anxiety, hallucinations, damage to the lungs, especially if you're smoking crack cocaine, and malnourishment and weight loss. Now, in terms of the risk of addiction, cocaine has a high potential for abuse and addiction because of the intense high it produces, but it's often followed by a crash that includes fatigue, depression, and cravings. And also, over time, we have the buildup of tolerance, and therefore you need more of the drug to achieve the same effect, which then increases the risk of overdose and other severe health problems. So I've said originally that cocaine was derived from the leaves of the coca plant, and the coca plant is the Latin taxonomic name is Erythroxylum coca, and this is native to South America. The coca plant thrives in high altitude regions, particularly in countries like Peru, Bolivia, and Colombia, and these countries are the primary producers of coca leaves. So how is cocaine made? Well, cocaine leaves are harvested from coca plants, and indigenous communities in South America have traditionally chewed coca leaves for their stimulant effects to combat fatigue and altitude sickness. But once you've got the leaves, then cocaine is extracted. The coca leaves are processed using various chemicals to extract the active alkaloid, which is cocaine hydrochloride. So remember that cocaine hydrochloride is the active alkaloid of cocaine from the coca plant. And so this extraction process involves soaking the leaves in solvents such as gasoline, kerosene, or similar chemicals to break them down, and then filtering and processing the solution to isolate crude coca paste. And then further refining of this paste produces powdered cocaine. Now, cocaine exists in different chemical forms, mainly cocaine hydrochloride, which is powdered cocaine, but there's also cocaine base, otherwise known as freebase cocaine, and there's also crack cocaine. And each has distinct chemical properties, manufacturing processes, and methods of use. So we'll talk about powdered cocaine, which is cocaine hydrochloride first. So cocaine hydrochloride, powder cocaine, is a fine white crystalline powder. It's water-soluble, making it suitable for injection or snorting, but it's got a high melting point. So the melting point is about 195 degrees, which means it's not suitable for smoking. Therefore, it is typically snorted or injected when dissolved in water. And the extraction process from coca leaves involves using solvents like kerosene, gasoline, or alcohol, which dissolve the alkaloids. An alkali, i.e. lime or ammonia, is then added to convert alkaloids into freebase cocaine. The mixture is filtered, and then an acidic solution, often sulfuric acid, is then used to precipitate coca paste. So once you've got coca paste, it is dissolved in hydrochloric acid and then further purified using solvents like ether or acetone. And when this solution is evaporated, you yield cocaine hydrochloride crystals. Now, let's talk about base cocaine, freebase. So freebase is a waxy, oily, or crystalline substance. It's insoluble in water, but it is soluble in nonpolar solvents, e.g. ether. It's got a lower melting point, about 98 degrees centigrade. Compare that to the 195 degrees centigrade of cocaine hydrochloride, so it's much lower. And because it's got a lower melting point, it vaporizes at a lower temperature and therefore is suitable for smoking. So in terms of its manufacture, cocaine hydrochloride is dissolved in water. An alkali, i.e. ammonia, baking soda, or sodium hydroxide, is then added to convert cocaine hydrochloride into freebase cocaine. And then a nonpolar solvent such as ether is then used to extract the freebase form. The solution is then evaporated to obtain pure freebase cocaine. Now, one of the advantages of smoking freebase cocaine is that it delivers drugs more rapidly to the brain compared to other types of cocaine, and this results in an intense but short-lived high. But the disadvantage of freebase cocaine manufacture is that it requires the use of flammable solvents like ether in its production, and therefore it's very dangerous to manufacture, and therefore plenty of accidents, workplace accidents, if you will, have occurred. So we talked about cocaine hydrochloride, then we've talked about freebase cocaine. Now let's talk about crack cocaine. Now crack cocaine is a hard rock-like substance, like chunks. It's insoluble in water but soluble in lipids, and it's got a melting point of about 98 degrees, similar to the melting point of freebase cocaine. Therefore, it can be vaporized and smoked. And let's talk about the manufacturing process. So again, we dissolve cocaine hydrochloride in water, and we add baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, instead of ammonia or ether. And this mixture is heated, allowing cocaine base to precipitate, and the solid is cooled and dried, forming crack rocks. Now, crack cocaine produces an intense and rapid high, even faster than snorting powdered cocaine. Unlike freebase cocaine, no volatile organic solvents such as ether are required in its manufacture. Therefore, it's safer to make. Now, crack cocaine is called crack because of the distinct cracking sound that it makes when it is heated, hence its name. So we've got three forms of cocaine. We've got cocaine hydrochloride, we've got freebase cocaine, and we've got crack cocaine. The key thing is to understand some basic physicochemical parameters to actually understand the differences in their behavior and the differences in the way that these types of cocaine are used. So cocaine hydrochloride is highly dissolvable in water and has a high melting point. Therefore, it needs to be injected or snorted. Freebase cocaine has low solubility in water, has a lowish melting point of about 98 degrees centigrade, and can be vaporized and smoked. But it requires ether or ammonia in the manufacturing process, which can be dangerous. And then crack cocaine also has low water solubility, but a high lipid solubility and a low melting point, 98 degrees. So therefore, it too can be vaporized and smoked. And it is made with baking soda and heat. So therefore, the manufacturing process is safer than the manufacturing process of freebase cocaine. So let's talk about the key takeaways. Cocaine hydrochloride is water-soluble and is mainly snorted or injected. Freebase cocaine is purified with solvents like ether, making it smokable but dangerous to manufacture. Crack cocaine is also smokable, but it's made with baking soda and water, eliminating the need for the use of flammable chemicals. This concludes the first episode in a series that we're doing on cocaine. My name is Dr. Fergal Armstrong, and this was Cracking Addiction.